Hi my quilty friends, welcome back to my sewing room. Now I had stated that I was going to do a Sew Wednesday, and I do have a project to share with you later on in the video. But the first thing that I want to share with you today is a quilt that I started years ago. Now some of you call them UFOs, and I call them PhDs, projects half done. I don't think this one's even half done. This is what I have done right here behind me. This was a 2016 Craftsy. Purchased this whole kit. Fabric. You can go online and watch, and I did that. And you can also print out the instructions, which I also did that. So if there was something that I couldn't read, I could go watch it. The quilt itself is beautiful. It's called Garden Charm Quilt. Finished size is 84 by 92. All the supplies are here. Well, I don't think the stabilizer, spray starch, a matching thread, and you get to cut the fabric. They just send it. I'm going to bring the camera down and show you some of this beautiful quilt. This is quality fabric. I mean, you can just, touch this and know it's quality. And it's just a beautiful quilt. This is what I've got done so far on the quilt. Now the next row, I've already did my blocks. I've had this for quite some time and I would love to finish it. So since I'm getting my sewing room put back together, not a craft room, just for sewing, I would like to try to finish at least this quilt top. Maybe by the end of the year, we'll see. So let me go ahead and show you some of this gorgeous fabric to this quilt. Hey guys, can you see pretty good? Here's a close-up of the quilt itself. In this one, it's got some of the lights, shades. Something that I didn't do and I wasn't paying much attention was my points and corners. Now, is this going to be a perfect quilt? No. Is there mistakes? Yes, lots of them. I'll just be happy to get it together whether the points come out together or not. My quilts are not going in any quilt contest or anything like that. I do this for myself and my family, and so if they're imperfect, that's okay by me. But here is some of this quilt colors. The greens are so pretty, and I hold on to every little piece. I'm going to hang on to every little piece. I just love this Garden Charm quilt in this blue. Here's another blue. This one is, okay, in some of the blocks, I see them in here. That right there is right there. Browns, dark browns. The yellow, pretty. These three, I think it's the same design, different colors, in a rose and green and blue. This is a beautiful green. Peach color. This is really pretty. All the different colors in it. and a light tan. And you've seen I used some of that already on these blocks down here. And beautiful yellow. This looks to be like the trim right around here. And maybe some of it is in some of these little blocks. And this is the outer outline of it. You can see it right here. This is just one. I think I have enough projects in my sewing room, maybe in my lifetime, I don't know. I see so many more quilts that I would love to do, but I would like to finish the ones that I have before I go and buy another kit or fabric for some, another project to get started. And I can't wait to get this one done. I will enjoy it. Okay, guys, I wanted to share that with you. And I can't wait to get that quilt done. And that's what I've got done so far. But I am sharing a sewing project with you today. And it's not a quilt that I'm sewing. It's something I seen on Pinterest. And I wanted to have one of these in my home. And I would like to make one for every season. So go ahead, and if you want to watch the project, here it is. Enjoy. Well, hello friend, and welcome to my sewing room. In today's video, I would like to show you how I'm going to make this cute little stool cover, ruffled stool cover. So I'm going to start out. I don't have a pattern. This will be very, very simple. I'm just going to take the bottom of the stool, actually the top of the stool, turn it upside down, and I'm going to take a pencil and trace around the top of the seat part of the stool. I want to make sure that I'm about a 1/2 inch away from the edges, so it's going to give me a little bit of a seam allowance. And then after that, I'm just going to cut this out, and this is going to be our start. I also think that this would be very cute in different fabrics, like a stripe, a floral, and just various colors would also look adorable on this. So you could get very creative, and you can make one for each season if you wanted to, and I'm hoping that I'm going to have the time to do that. I do like to press my items as I go. It's not something that you have to do, but I add a little bit of starch and it just makes the item look a little better. And also I do like to press down the seams once they're sewn so that they lay a little bit better and it's not looking all wonky. I'm going to take this stool, turn it upside down again up here on my table, and I want to measure the circumference around the top. This will let me know how long of a strip that I'm going to need to cut. It's going to be a 3-inch strip. Now this portion of it, you can make it 2 inches, 3 inches, as long as you want the skirt on it to be. But I'm going to do my ruffle in a 3-inch and also the 3-inch just above the ruffle. So I believe that the circumference around there was 32 inches. So I'm going to measure, and I believe that this fabric here is 33 inches. So I'm just going to fold this, and I'm going to fold it down 3 inches times 3. Because your ruffle is going to double that amount in order for it to be ruffled, if that makes sense to you. So I'm going to take this, and I'm really just eyeballing. I'm not measuring anything. I don't have a pattern, but about 3 inches, and then I'm going to fold this over again, 3 inches, and I'm going to press it down. There's going to be 3 layers of this. That's 3 inches. The first layer will be what goes around the top of the stool cover, and then the second 2 will be sewn together, and that is what the ruffle is going to be, and I'll tell you how we're going to do that ruffle in just a minute. So again, I don't have a pattern, guys. I know I keep repeating that, but this can be any size that you want. I'm just making up the 3 inches for my stool. You know, this could be 1 inch, and then the ruffle, you can have a longer ruffle. So since this has a fold in it, I'm going to go ahead and take my rotary cutter and cut off the edges evenly. And once I cut both sides, the edges off, then I'm going to have 3 strips of fabric that's 32 inches long on each one of them. I'm going to take the first strip, and I'm going to sew the 2 edges together, face to face, and just do your 1/4 inch seam. Make sure you always back stitch on your fabric. And then the next 2 pieces are also going to be put together. So this one's going to be rather long, but this is actually the ruffle part of it. And we're also going to put a hem on this. So I hope this is simple enough for you to follow along. Now this is the first one that I did, and you can see I am going to start there where the seam came together. This is the first 32. Now your stool may be a different size than mine. Some of them are smaller at the top, some of them are larger. So that's why I measured the stool that I'm making it for. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this first straight 32-inch piece all the way around the circle. And just do a little let up, do a little at a time, straighten your fabric. And I know you're putting a straight piece around a circle piece, but it can be done. After you go all the way around, we're going to take our scissors and snip just a little bit on the inseam, but without cutting your thread fabric. And then we'll take it to the ironing board and press it down. Now before I go any further, I want to turn this right side and try it on the stool, see how it looks, see if I need to make any adjustments. But if I measured and cut my fabric correctly, then it all should be okay. And here's what it looks like so far. So next we need to put the ruffle on. Our next step is the ruffle. Now these are the two 32-inch pieces that I had sewn together, and we need to put a hem on it. Once we put the hem on it, but I'm going to bring it over here to my iron. I like to press it over, and I'm just going to fold it once, and then I'm going to fold it again. I'm going to press it and take it to the machine and stitch the hem. Once I have all of the hem stitched on the 64-inch piece of fabric that I had cut, that's 3 inches, now it's shorter because I got a hem to it. Then I'm going to put these two ends together. Now you can go ahead and put this together in the loop itself, both ends, before you hem it, or you can hem it before you do this part that I'm doing. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it together, and then I'm going to fold it over and put my hem on it. Now I'm going to start where one of the seams are, and I'm going to fold it over. It's probably about a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to fold it over another 1/2 inch. May not quite be a 1/2 inch, but use your own judgment for the hem of this ruffle. I don't think you want it too big and bulky unless you're going to have a longer ruffle. I've seen some of these with really long ruffles, and some of them that have the first piece even longer, that it comes down the stool legs. But I just sort of want mine sort of short and sweet. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hem this all the way around, the whole 64 inches around, and this is the hem to the ruffle. And once I get done with this, I'll tell you what we're going to do next. And this is the hem, what it looks like all the way around. And on the other side, it's just a raw edge. Now I'm going to go back to my piece that I did for the top, and this is where we put the ruffle. It's going to be face to face. The fabric of the stool top piece and the ruffle is going to go face to face when you stitch it, but we have to gather it. So what I'm going to do is take some thread. Well, I'm going to take a measuring tape first, and I'm going to measure, and it should be 32 inches around the bottom of that first 3 inches. But I'm going to measure again just in case, and I'm getting my needle and thread. If it's 32 inches, I want to make sure that I have about 33 inches of thread, and I will double it, and I will put a knot in it. And then we're going to do a base stitch on the bottom ruffle fabric on the raw edge side. So I hope I'm not losing you here, but I'm just measuring this, and I believe it measured 39 inches, so I don't want my thread any more than 40 inches long. So I'm going to thread my needle, double the thread. I know I'm repeating myself, so I want you to understand what I'm doing here. If you got a better way to do it, by all means. Maybe you don't need to baste this ruffle. Maybe you can just go along as you sew and ruffle it in. I sort of like to have that thread guideline, so it lets me know at the end if I need to gather a little more, or I need to let loose a little more on the ruffle. Now that I have measured out my thread at 40 inches actually, I'm going to remember that I have to have that extra inch while I'm basting and then tie it off. So at the top of the ruffle on the raw edge side, not on the side you just hemmed, I'm going to do a running base stitch all the way around. So that means that you would be able to pull your fabric through and adjust it, and you'll see what I do here in a minute. So I'm going to base this all the way around. Once I have went all the way around, then I'm going to just adjust my ruffle, even all the ruffles out, and I'm going to start here where that seam is, and this is again face to face when you're stitching it, and I am looking to put the two seams together, and that's going to be my starting point. Now this gets a little awkward because you have fabric gathered on the top, but you do a little bit, you adjust it, and you sew a little bit, and you adjust it. It's not a quick process, and you adjust your ruffle, and you keep your two raw edges together as you're sewing around, and you do your 1/4 inch seam, and adjust your ruffles, and you're using that thread as a guideline. And when you get to the end, you may have extra or you may need a little more. Be sure and do your back seam, cut your threads off, and take it to the ironing board and press your two edges down where your ruffle will lay straight, and then you're all done. You can put it on your stool and enjoy it.